I want my children to look at me and say, wow, that's my dad. That's my father. I look up to him as a mentor, as a teacher, as a dad. Like I want my children to speak like that when I'm not around. Not, oh, that's my dad over there. He's there. He pays the bills.
Yeah, that's him.
The water's running and the electric's on.
Just move him out of the way.
That was cute. Very cute.
All right. And we are recording once again. Hi, Ken.
Hello, Fenton. Happy holidays, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Double.
Special Thanksgiving edition.
No, thank you.
I did actually just eat a plate of leftovers. So I'm very full. I'm going to make this one quick.
Good stuff.
Oh, it's great. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a Thanksgiving edition of Products of Circumstance podcast with Ken Skeen and myself, Fenton Joseph. We discuss mental health and mindset matters through the lens of Black men. We cover topics like family and relationship trauma, relationships with money, self-worth, positive thinking, turkey, and so much more. This show is unscripted, unfiltered, and mostly unedited. We choose our topics randomly, and Ken's going to get into that in just a second. But first, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. One day there will be a subscribe thing that floats where Ken's hands are when I figure out how to do that. But in the interim, just subscribe. And please share this with somebody who is on their self-development journey, especially around Thanksgiving time. It's very important. There's a lot. People be aching and hurting, and that's why they fill themselves with turkey. Give them the gift of Products of Circumstance podcast.
Oh, that tryptophan.
Thanksgiving edition. Okay, Ken, what are we talking about today?
All right. The topic of the day will be becoming a better version of yourself, or being a better version of yourself, or the greatest version of yourself.
Oh, there's levels to this.
I love it. This is great. It's a lot of reflection, I guess, self-reflection. Yeah. So yes, it's a process, being the greatest version of yourself. We were around the table on Thanksgiving a couple of days ago, and everyone's talking about, they're talking to my wife and I, you guys are so much older now. You guys don't want to go out to the club. My club. I'm like, I got my club living room. Go to the club. And they were just saying, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, you would have came out. And I'm like, yeah, things are different now. Mm-hmm. And they were just saying, as you get older, maybe not everyone, definitely not everyone, but I hope for the most, for the masses, that is, you grow. You do change, you do adapt into new scenarios, and just you as yourself, you're becoming a better person for yourself. Mm. Forget the world for a second. Forget your family. You're allowed to be selfish for this one. Mm-hmm. Becoming a better version of yourself helps the people around you anyway. Mm-hmm. But being the greatest version of yourself, that's the key, right? So as you grow, the people you keep. We've had a previous episode of the circle of friends and family you have, for instance, right? There's certain people you don't want in your life, or you try to keep a distance from because of negativity. Mm-hmm. So that's helping you become the better version of yourself. When it comes to your diet, we've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. Becoming a better version just to make sure your health is there, especially if you have children, you have people you take care of, people who depend on you. You want to make sure you're there for them as long as possible. Mm-hmm. In this, small existence that you have here, life is shorter than people really think. Yeah. Average lifespan of a man is 83. Average lifespan of a woman is 87. Mm-hmm. I'm 42. I'm halfway past that point. I got to make sure I'm here for my children. I'm not trying to be morbid here. Right. It's just putting things in perspective of always becoming a better version of yourself. I want my children to look at me and say, wow, that's my dad. That's my father. I look up to him as a mentor, as a teacher, as a dad. Like I want my children to speak like that when I'm not around. Not, oh, that's my dad over there. He's there. He pays the bills.
Yeah, that's him.
The water's running and the electric's on.
Just move him out of the way.
But yeah, so it's definitely it's a path that everyone takes. It's going to be a rough one. It's a bumpy one, but that makes the fun, right? Brings the joy.
Yeah,
because without the bumps in the road, you're not living.
Riding on a smooth road gets annoying after. You ever go over a newly paved road in your car, and at first it's like, oh, this is so nice. But you know what I've noticed recently, because they paved around here recently? It's too quiet.
Start falling asleep.
Yeah, it's like, it's nice, but then also you miss there used to be a pothole there that I would swerve around, jostling. That's a really interesting point. All right. So what I heard you say had a lot to do with time, right? How time is passing, and maybe we don't have the most time left to become a better version of ourselves. So we need to focus on that because time is fleeting. That's super interesting. It's an angle that I don't know that I would have taken, but we just speak whatever is, in us. So that's what's in you. I think I'm going to stick with that time angle though. Something that I've noticed, and it's interesting that you talked about going to the club and like how you grow. There are things that I thought were just like as you get older, there's just things that just happen, not like your back hurting and things like that, but you, because that happens too. It's like you stop doing certain things, and it's because you get more wise and responsible, and you have things that you got. Like I got kids, a kid, and I have a wife. And the thing that has been in my mind the past like 2 weeks or so is protecting my family. Because one of my affirmations is that I'm a protector. I protect my family. And I started thinking about, what does protect mean? It's not just, fisticuffs. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody step to your wife and you gotta protect her, dignity or whatever. It's also things like being healthy so that you can be here. One of the obvious ones for everyone should be, if you're dead, you can't protect anybody. If you're unhealthy, physically, unable to do certain things, like that's not a good look. That was one of the things that made me really want to get back into shape. Now, I guess my desire isn't that great because I'm not where I want to be just yet, but I'm working on it. I'm working on increasing that desire and really focusing on that feeling like, I need to get in shape so that I can protect my daughter, so that I can protect my wife, so that I can be here for them. Like you said, I want my child to look at me and be like, Daddy is my Superman.
Right.
And he's my protect. She says that now. Like, Daddy will protect me. We went to FAO Schwartz, and they had like this big toy lion, and she did not want to walk past the lion because it was making sounds and everything. It's a fake lion. It's obviously not real. We're not at the zoo. We're at a toy store. Bella, I'll protect you. Come on. I picked her up, walked past the lion, and I was like, Rawr, and I kind of growled back at the lion. And she, Daddy, you're my protector. You'll protect me. And she has that in her head. Daddy will protect me. I'm telling you, everywhere we go, if there's anything that scares her, she comes to Daddy. And it bothers me sometimes when I think about my ankle and how that hasn't healed properly, and my wrist, things that keep me out of the gym from, lifting weights and stuff like that, because I don't ever want to be in a situation where she feels like I can't protect her. That's not in her head. That's in my head. And it's something that, I have to kind of work through. But beyond the physical stuff, I thought about finances, providing, having a life insurance policy, for when I'm not here, protecting them beyond, my life. I thought about reputation. If I go out and I'm by myself and I act a fool with somebody, you know what I'm saying, and get into something, that brings shame to my family, like that's not protecting them. If I were to go out and, have infidelity you know what I'm saying, or something like that, and it comes back and disrupts my family situation, I'm not protecting them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm supposed to protect them from shame. I'm supposed to protect them from all that stuff. It could be something as simple as, like, let's say you got a house and you don't pay the taxes. Now you got a tax lien on your house. And, you know, they come and they you know, the sheriff, you know, puts your stuff, like, you protecting. So things like being on top of your responsibilities and the things that you have to do, like, that's how I'm starting to think about protecting my family. And that requires discipline. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life. I don't always remember everything. I'm not always on top of everything. I'm not always the best version of myself. Sometimes people get me, you know, it's hard to do this actually, but sometimes people can get me out of character.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I'm fairly
I haven't seen that in a while. I mean,
I'm fairly unflappable, but you know, the right situation or the wrong situation, like, yeah, you could get me out of character. I don't believe in, like, really, you know, beefing with anybody or anything. Like, I'll defend my family, and I'm big on respect, but I don't let, like, my feelings get me out of character. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you stepped on my shoe, you know, like, I'm not gonna, you know, like, wild out because I've worked on. Well, I use that example, right? Because there's a lot of people, you know, in our community, you know, it's particularly young men, you know, when it comes to character, you do something to them that's a slight that could easily just be done away with an apology. And instead it becomes a thing, you know, about ego. I, like many, you know, young black men, had to work on that, you know, and I'm not going to delve too much into why that is the case, because we're talking about being the greatest version of yourself and the better version of yourself. But identifying those things that can take you out of character and get you off kilter when you should be focusing on different objectives and different goals and being a better version of yourself. So I had to learn how to do that. And again, I keep coming back to my family, because it's not until you have that responsibility, you know what I'm saying, of, like, being responsible for other people, that you really find out, like, who you are and how you really get down.
Facts.
It shines a light on the type of person that you are. And I'm just talking about, you know, as a man, right? We're two black men, and that's, you know, we do this show through the lens of two black men. You got to make decisions. And the decisions that you make every day, top to bottom, small and large, is going to reveal who you are. And I think in my marriage and in, you know, like, as a dad, as a provider, I've made decisions that, you know, I'm happy with most of them. And then some of them, you know, they might be kind of questionable. And it's a mirror. I look back and I say, all right, well, you know, who do my decisions, the sum of my decisions, like, show who I am? And, you know, whether or not I make better decisions over time is going to be a result of my discipline, you know, and really growing into a better version of myself. And I'll say this last thing, I'll give it back to you, is a friend of mine recently texted me something. He said something like, the sum of what you've done today reflects your level of discipline.
Okay.
So everything that we do today, that's your level of discipline at the moment. Because we all know what we have to do. We're not idiots.
See, okay.
I don't believe there's a person on this planet that doesn't know what they need to do right now to reach their goals, to hit their objectives, meet their responsibilities, whatever.
Right.
I'm not talking, y'all, about, like, there's a book you didn't read that gave you a strategy for your business or whatever. Like, I'm not talking about that. Today, what was on your plate, and did you get it all done? That's your level of discipline. Great. I know for me, you know, Friday night, you know, my other podcast, like, it didn't get uploaded. I passed out. I was sitting there in a hotel room, and it was like,
how dare you?
I know, it's like, it was late and I was tired. It was Thanksgiving, and I have every excuse, I'll say, not reason. I have every excuse in the book for why it didn't get done. But the reality is, before Thursday came around, before Thanksgiving came around, I should have had the discipline to carve out the time to do it beforehand.
Okay.
And that is a reflection of where I am right now.
I don't know, man, because I know what you were doing, and whether or not you want to share it with the audience, you had a lot on your plate, bro.
Yeah, but there was also a good 2 hours of Instagram scrolling in that 24 hours. Oh yeah, I'd be on there. I'm on social.
You had a lot on your plate, bro.
I did. I'm not gonna lie. I did.
You had a lot, like a lot.
I had a lot, and I'll say this, and I'm glad that you're bringing that up. It's important for people to hear that. I was getting like 4 hours of sleep for like
you're getting less than that.
Probably. and for like 2 weeks, client deadlines, like it was going nuts. And I thank God I'm super busy with my work, but I was struggling and I was behind and I was trying to play catch up. I still stand by because I'm big on accountability. And I don't believe that you're going to accomplish anything great in life if you don't hold yourself to a super high standard. I have grace for myself, but I also know I am Superman and I can do a lot. And so I pushed myself, and I could have carved out 30 minutes, 45 minutes to do that before Thanksgiving. And anybody who is gracious enough like you can to say, well, Fenton, you had a lot going on and it's okay. You're right. And always climbing to be better and to be able to do more, you know what I'm saying? And be the greatest version of myself. Because the reality is I want to be that person who can do it all and still carve out the time for family and all those things. And I believe it's wholly possible when we look at what are we actually doing with our day. Because I can tell you, I'm on some Instagram. I'll be on there. I could have done without, but I didn't.
Well, look, it's all right. So once in a while, you gotta take the initiative to give yourself the dead time to just to recharge your brain for a sec, man. You're allowed. You're absolutely allowed. All right. Don't let anyone tell you any different.
No doubt.
But to be a better version of yourself as well. Again, if you don't like to read, but pick up a book, something nonfiction, people. All right. There's so much to learn in this world. Once in a while, put down the friggin' Lord of the Rings book just for a second. And just pick up something nonfiction, learn something new. And if you don't like to read, audiobooks, podcasts. There's so much on YouTube. Just even you know what? TikTok. You can use any one of these social media instead of looking up, next vacation spot. Look up something educational.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so become a better version of yourself. Grow, expand your mind, expand your ideas. If you think you know everything, you're never going to grow. Because someone could be trying to teach you something new, a new thought, a new idea. Remember, the world was flat at one point. That was trigger some people right there.
It still is. It still is.
You know what I'm saying? Little things, right? We learn as we go. What is it? One of the planets? At one point we had 9 planets, but one's a dwarf planet. So no, we learn new things as we go, right? So try to learn, try to expand your mind. You can't think that you know everything. You're never going to be the greatest version of yourself if you're not willing to learn something new. If you're not willing to learn someone's you don't have to agree with everyone, right?
Yes.
I believe Fenton brought this up a few episodes ago, and we were talking. We do not talk about religion or politics on here for a reason. It's just those discussions we don't want to have. We don't want with the audience. This is about mental health, self-awareness, right? But we were talking about someone who's, Democrat versus Republican. Why can't you disagree with each other, still hear each other out, and have a conversation like adults, and don't have to, up yours and screw you? No, it doesn't have to be that way. It could be, that's your opinion. This is my opinion. You taught me something. Hopefully I've taught you something. Let's shake hands and we go walk away like gentlemen. Or for like ladies, like men, whatever it may be, but walk away and not have a fight,
right? Or
disrupt what's around us,
right?
No, because you got to have an open mind. You can't just think you know everything, because you don't. All right. And it's something I work with all the time. Teach me something new, please. My cup, you got to empty a cup, right? You got to take a cup sometimes. That cup of tea,
Yeah.
got to empty it out. If it's filled to the top, how can you put more information in? How can you get more in? How can you put more substance into your life that may be able to help you 5, 10, 15 years from now, because you learned something new and you decided to learn even more, build more on top of it, right?
Mm.
If you can't do that as a person, where are you going? You're going to be stagnant.
Mm.
And that does not help create the better version of yourself.
Well said, man. I think my favorite part about that was the way you were waving the cup around in the air. Gosh darn it. Bro, you couldn't be more right. You know, you have to. All right, I'm not going to repeat what you said because you already said it. What I will say is that I think it comes back to discipline, making that decision to watch a YouTube video that teaches you something instead of something that's mindless. Like, that takes discipline. You know, you can pick up a book about, fiction book or whatever, or you can pick up a book about, that's going to teach you something. And what I found is that when I make those decisions to discipline myself, I'm sorry. What I should say is, with each decision that I make to do something that edifies me, I actually teach myself discipline, and I strengthen my discipline, because your discipline is a muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to flex it. You have to exercise it. The more you exercise it, the more it will grow. Just like, your triceps and biceps and everything else. When I decide to, let's say if I want to watch a video on cars, because I love cars, like, we love cars, and I just watch car videos on YouTube like freaking all day long. It's a mess. So there's a time suck for me. I could be watching something about SEO or, the latest web design trends, or, some marketing or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with indulging in a passion, because cars for me are a passion. Mm-hmm. But you also have to make decisions to actively grow your knowledge. And I'm telling you, y'all, it may seem difficult at first to pull yourself away from doing that thing that's more enjoyable and focusing on that other thing that helps you to grow into a better person. But over time, it becomes easier because it's discipline. Just like going to the gym gets easier over time. It's hard the first couple times, but a year later, after, dragging yourself out of bed or whatever, week after week, now you start to look forward to going to the gym. Mm-hmm. And you see the growth as well, and that encourages you. A lot of times people don't make the right decisions for themselves to grow into a better version of themselves because they don't see the growth. The growth is slow, but, think of it like, like grass or gardening or something. Got to plant the seeds in the dirt, and then it's going to be cold, and they got to survive the winter. And I don't know anything about gardening, so if this is out of sequence,
you're actually right on point.
Okay, cool.
You put the seed right before winter, so the seeds are in ground, the ice covers it. Yeah, you're doing good.
Look at God. So when the springtime comes, and then the spring rain comes, and the seeds, they germinate, and then they grow, and then you have the harvest. It's like, it takes time. That's a whole year before you saw what you put into the ground. Now you're able to take it out of the ground. It is very, how do I say this? Sometimes you got to encourage yourself, as you're trying to grow into that person. I'm gonna stick with this plant analogy because you've told me I was onto something. When you finally see that first sprout come out of the ground, that's kind of like going to the gym for a month. And then you notice like, oh, I can put up 10 pounds more, on the bench. It's a little sprout. It's like, okay, something is happening there. And then, 6 months later, like, things are really changing. That's like a whole stalk coming out of the ground, and it's like maybe starting to flower or something. And you get more and more encouraged as you see stuff. But what I want to focus on is before you even see that sprout, because that could be weeks or months. I don't know. You tell me, Mr. Green Thumb. How long does it take?
It really just depends on the plant.
Okay, that's good enough. We don't have to linger on it. But during that time, when that seed is doing what it's doing underneath the ground and you can't see it, you really have to encourage yourself. And that's when having the discipline to make the decisions that are going to, water that seed or feed it or whatever, that's the time when you need to be really focused. It gets so much easier afterward. It's like a beard. Some people don't want to grow a beard because they're like, oh, it itches, the first week or whatever. Okay, fine. It does. That's why I don't shave. But what?
I can't grow a beard. Like I said, it depends on the plant.
Plant. Your plants don't grow. That's all right. My plants up here are growing nothing. It's barren.
Go ahead.
The thought was
Finish off your thought.
get through it takes discipline to say, I'm not going to shave my beard during those first 2 weeks or so when it's itchy. That's when most guys fail. They're like, I'm just shaving it off. I can't deal with this. You got to push through. That's discipline. So I'm making this really wide connection. I know there's a bit of a chasm there, but in my mind, it's not that wide. Between discipline and becoming a better version of yourself. I think that if you can work on your discipline, you'll see those results really, really quickly, and they'll be consistent and long lasting. That's it.
Good way to wrap that up, Fenton.
You like it? I love it.
I thought you were about to say between beards and tomatoes.
Mustaches. Yeah, no.
And zucchini.
Amazing.
It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure, sir.
Pleasure's all mine. Enjoy your tryptophan. And what's funny is that this is going to come out on Monday, which is after Thanksgiving, but it's still Thanksgiving edition. So
it is. It is what it is.
Enjoy the rest of your time with your family.
You too, sir.
And we'll talk soon.
You have to say what's on the teleprompter still.
Oh, right. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and share with somebody who's on their personal development journey so that they can catch some of this wisdom that Ken and I be dropping. All right, man. I love you and
love you too, brother.
Talk soon.
Peace.
Peace.